Hello boys and girls, King Cam here, and we are going to be going through my Airsoft armory, as I said earlier in the video. We're going to start with the pistols. I've got them all organised from my first purchase to my most recent in terms of pistols, so we'll just go through them. So the first Airsoft pistol I ever bought was a Tokyo Marui Desert Eagle. Obviously when I first got into Airsoft, I was basically wanted to burn my money. I had a lot of money on my hands and not much sense. So I decided to just pump money indiscriminately into things. And as soon as I got my Yukara, I wanted a pistol, but I wanted one that was going to be iconic, bombastic, and this basically fit all of it because I've got quite large hands, not hugely large hands, but I've got quite large hands, so it fits my hands really nicely. It holds a lot of ammo, a lot of gas. The magazines on it are quite large. It's Tokyo Maru, so it's all plastic, but so it's not light, but it's relatively light. When you got the mag in them, all the weight's in the mag, so it's quite good because it's all in the grip. Um, the recoil on it is quite a lot, but because it's plastic, again, it won't you're not gonna actually feel recoil. But just be careful because one time I went to Reading and I was doing a CQB thing, and I decided I literally just seen John Wick, so I was doing like that with the Desert Eagle, and it's smacked me in the face. So you just gotta be careful with that. But obviously, when you pull out a Desert Eagle, everyone takes notes. It is just an awesome piece of kit. I mean, I took this and my 1911 up to Scotland, and I thought this would struggle in the cold, but it performed awesomely. It was really good, and obviously because it's Tokyo Marine, the range on it's really good as well. I spent 130 quid on the pistol itself, and then 30 quid a mag. I bought 3 mags for it, and I've used it just as a single primary before because it is really good. It's got awesome range. Finding holsters for it's a bit of a pain, but if you look around, you'll find some. There are some around. They're just some. What I recommend is getting adjustable holsters and then playing around with those. Um, but no, it's a really good pistol, and if you've got big hands and you've got the money for it, it's really good. It's by far, even though it's my first pistol I've ever bought, it's probably still my favourite. The next pistol I purchased was a Cybergun 100th anniversary 1911. I've put some custom grips on here since then. But I bought it because I wanted a CO2 pistol because I knew I had a Abbey gas pistol, but we were starting to get toward winter, and I always read online when I was starting out that guns that have Abbey gas struggle in the cold. So I thought I'd get CO2 because everyone said that that was doing a lot better. Um, when I first got this did really well. It was really good. It had a couple of issues. You only had to do a couple of shots after you put the new CO2 bulb in. It came under the 35. The range on it was really good. The accuracy was pretty good as well, to be fair. The only problem was when I went up to Scotland with it, it did really well until about halfway through the day, and then for some reason the trigger on it won't it doesn't reset properly. So sometimes you'll shoot and it'll go, and then sometimes you pull the trigger and it won't do it, and then you have to try and make sure it resets properly before you do. But so I haven't taken it out recently for a while. I haven't really had the time to pull it apart and do it. I pulled it apart once and had a look at it, but I couldn't find out what it was. So, but no, I spent about 120 quid on this one off Patrol Base, and no, it's a really good pistol. Looks really nice. It's not full metal, so there's nice weight to it. Yeah, really good pistol, to be fair. I think it's just this one that I've had some trigger problems with, but I'm sure it's a simple fix. I just haven't got around to it. Next one is my first six-shooter, airsoft six-shooter I ever bought, which is the ASG Dan Wesson. It's a interesting gun. I bought it because I wanted a revolver, and I saw online that obviously this was one of the ones that had safe rounds, safe shells, so you can use it in games because a lot of revolvers tend to have really high FPS rates, and getting them down can be a pain in the ass. But these had these safe shells. I got these. I think this is 7-inch barrel. I think I got this. This is a 7-inch barrel. I got this because I wanted a bigger one because I did quite enjoy the bigger one. The only reason I don't use this very much, and this might just be a case of mine, but the hop up on it isn't very good. So the problem I had was it was curving off left, curving off to the right, and just not really getting any range. And I've been meaning to put a new hop up unit in it, but I haven't yet. But in like CQB, if you're just pissing about, this is pretty good. I mean, the semi-automatic action on it's pretty good. If you want accurate shots, then I'd recommend cocking the hammer before you do, just because it just makes the trigger pull a lot nicer. But no, I got this for, as I said, I think it was about 120, I think it was. And I bought some of the moon clips. The problem is, just to let you know, these ones, if you buy an older one, so this one was an older one, it doesn't come with the cylinder that can take moon clips. As you can see here, there's these little grooves on there, which allows them to take the moon clips. If you buy an older one, sometimes they won't have that. So this one I had to buy a new cylinder for and put a new cylinder in it to get it to take moon clips, just because it helps the reloads a lot quicker than just individually putting stuff in or trying the speed loaders, which are a bit awkward. But no, in like messing around with my friends in the garden or doing CQB, it's not a terrible gun. Not the best, but not a terrible one either. My next purchase was a Marushin Derringer. I bought it on the recommendation of a chap I knew when I was playing because he pulled it out and I thought it was pretty cool. And he told me that the main reason he carries it is because obviously you have the rules of Airsoft are that you can't blind fire and you have to aim down your gun at all times. But if you're pinned down and the guy's got you pinned, what you can do is you literally have the wall just here and you just slightly peek out this tiny little gun and just go pew! And just ping them with the tiny bit. And it actually has pretty good range, this. As much as you wouldn't expect it, it's got decent range. Obviously, it's only 2 shots. You have to individually load each BB into the back of there and then fire away on it. I used this for a little bit. It was a fun little gun. If you're just sneaking up on someone, you can just sort of like, pew! Into the back. And for things like TTT and the games that my mates and me play, it was a load of fun. The only problem is I dropped it in some mud and the grit and stuff got all in the mechanism and it started wearing away the seals and things. And now it leaks gas really badly. I've tried to fix it, but I haven't fixed anything just yet. So it's still on my repair list. So it doesn't work at the moment, but fingers crossed at some point I'll get fixed again. But if you're looking for a little backup gun, little emergency pistol, or something to dink around with, this is not a bad purchase. I think it was about 50 quid. I got it for 50 quid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it for only 50 quid. So not a bad buy. Next one I got when I was thinking about going on holiday. I wanted, because at this point I had a Abbey gas pistol and CO2 pistols, but I didn't have any green gas. So I decided to get this as a green gas pistol because I had recently bought the TM-MP7 and I wanted something that took a pistol that took green gas as well, because my plan was for going away on holiday is I'd have 2 guns both work on green gas. So I'd fly over there without the gas and then buy just green gas and both of them would just take it and I could just play. So this is why I got this. It was also because it was on sale. By the way, I haven't said what it is. It's a Umarex HK45CT, which means compact, so it's slightly smaller than the original normal HK45. As you can see, I've got a custom compensator, like the John Wick style one. I got it on a 3D print website when I bought it, and it works really well. Just screws on there nicely. It does come, so this pistol comes with a thread on the end. So a lot of people I know have thread guards, or they'll put a compensator on here. This is the pistol that John Wick's used in the film, the first film, anyway. So I got it also because it looks cool. It is actually also a really good pistol. When I got it in the sale for 100 quid, I wasn't expecting much, but it actually turns out really well. It can throw, the hop up in it's really good. You change it by turning the thing at the front. There's like a little screw thing you put in the end. and you can turn it up that way, and it can throw .3s. At the moment I put .25s in it. I've got it set up for .25, and it'll throw it pretty far, pretty accurately as well. So it is actually a really good pistol. If you thinking about getting a green gas pistol, this is one of the ones I'd recommend. Obviously the metal, it's got a metal slide and everything like that, and I think it's got a couple of metal internal bits in it. But the lower part's plastic, which makes it a little bit lighter, but it makes it a bit top heavy a little bit, but not much, not enough to really bother you. But no, it feeds really well. The problem I've got with it at the moment is I think there's a little bit of dirt in it because I haven't cleaned it in a while, so I just need to clean it. But no, as a green gas pistol, it's worked really well, and I would highly recommend it. While I was looking at the HK45C, I needed to buy mags for it, and I couldn't really get mags in England at the time. There was pistols for it. The pistols themselves were going all over the place. We're getting spare mags for it. It was a pain in the ass. So I ended up having a look in America for spare mags for the HK45C. And while I was on the Red Wolf US website, I found this, which is an Umarex Peacemaker. I saw it wasn't actually that much. I think it was 100. No, it was less than that. It was $80, something like that. It wasn't surprisingly enough that much. And I decided to get it because I fucking love Western films. So I was like, I need it, and it's really good. It is really good. It cost me a fortune to get it transported across to this country, and I bought 2 of them. So I have 2 of these. The other one's sadly under maintenance at the moment, so I'm not going to show you it. But it's like a blued version with a brown handle. This is the silver one that I use most of the time. This one works almost flawlessly since I first got it. You load individual shells into here like you would the real thing. Each of the shells have a BB at the end. I've used this a lot in like games with my friends and stuff. I occasionally take it out in the field, but not often, just because of the fact that you have to individually load each shell. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do that, and then sometimes you can lose the shells, especially if it's a big field. But no, I've got an old Western holster for this. And yeah, it is a really cool Western gun. But obviously it's a revolver, airsoft revolver. So FPS, it has a couple of issues with that. I can get it down by doing some work on the shells. I've managed to get it down, but it's still occasionally inconsistent. It's a lot of money and a lot of effort for basically a fashion statement, but it's a really cool fashion statement. So in my eyes, it's worth it. But for everyone, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But it is a lot of fun, and I will continue to use it and have a lot of fun with it. But it does cost a lot of money. Off the back of that, obviously with my love for Peacemakers, I decided I wanted to get one that was a bit more consistently under the FPS, a bit more consistent FPS. And I saw this one coming up on a used airsoft site. It is a Tanaka Peacemaker heavyweight. What happens is you load the BBs into the ends of the cylinder here, and then you use the plunger to push it down into the thing, and you put gas in the cylinder itself, and it'll fire out. It's green gas / Abbey gas, I think it is. I used it for a little bit, worked okay for a little bit. I then took it over to Reading when I went to go play up there, and the cylinder started leaking, and I've since not been able to get it to work properly. It's had a lot of issues. Apparently, it's quite rare and it's worth quite a bit of money. I think I bought mine off the guy for about 130, something like that, because the guy didn't really want it anymore because he said that he had some issues with leaking. So maybe it is just a problem with the gun itself. I don't really know. Would I recommend this to anyone again? No, it's a very expensive fashion statement, and it requires a lot of work. But I am that sort of guy who would do that. So it's one of my pistols that again is broken and I need to get it fixed, but I haven't got around to it yet. Another gun that I probably shouldn't have bought, but I did, was this ASG Schofield revolver. They had a sale on for them and I just couldn't resist. The problem is with this one is that I cannot find any safe shells for it. So it shoots 450, and I can't find any safe shells for it, and I haven't had a chance to do testing on the shells I've got for it to try and get it under 350. So for the time being, it is just a garden plinker. I haven't really shot it out, and until I can get it under 350, I'm not going to take it out in the field because they wouldn't allow me. So I'm keeping it for a garden plinker until I can get it under 350. Once I get it under 350, I would like to try and take it out and see how she does. But until I can consistently get it under 350, it's staying at home. I bought this for about 120, I think, something like that. But it is a cool gun. I like Western guns, so it's a nice bit of history. Well made, really nice to show. If you want a display piece, this is probably not a bad one. So if you're up for Western guns, it's worth a buy, but don't expect to use that in the field unless you do a lot of work. The next purchase was in the vein of green gas. I got this ASG ASG KJ Works M9. It was, funnily enough, one of the highest recommended beginner's guns that I found online, funnily enough. It was one of the highest anyway. I wanted an M9 because I quite like the M9. The Beretta, it's got a nice look to it. It's quite classical. I also wanted it to round out my Stargate cosplay I'm working on, so I got it for that. I also got it so I would have a backup green gas pistol, because I bought a load of green gas, and having one green gas pistol, I thought it'd probably be a good idea to have another. So I took this out when I went to Lincolnshire to go check out a friend's site, and I took it out for the first time, and my primaries were having some issues, so I ended up using this for most of the day, and it worked out surprisingly well, actually. I only had one mag for it at the time, so I was literally just speed loading, putting the mag in, lock, cock, and ready to rock. It had decent range. It was pretty inaccurate though, but it cycled very well. I found it doesn't like the cold at all. I found it really struggles in the cold. I tried to use it in November, and it didn't really like it at all. So it's definitely a hot weather gun, but it's a great starting pistol. I would highly recommend it. It's sturdy, it works well, but there's a lot of room for upgrades. That was another reason why I bought it, because there's a lot of room for upgrades. So I was hoping to put some upgrades into it, but I haven't yet. So it is still stock. So I will hope to at some point. But for 100 quid I spent for it, 109 maybe, I think that's pretty good, to be fair. Here's another case of me having too much money and not enough sense. I bought this. This is a Marushin Peacemaker. This is not the heavyweight version. This is the plastic version. I got this from Snow Wolf. I think it's Snow Wolf Airsoft. But they had this on the website, and I wanted it, since the Tanaka was broken, I wanted another Peacemaker that was consistently low FPS to use, and I got this. But at which point, as soon as I bought it, someone told me how rare and expensive they are, and how I got it for £200, but it's worth something like 300 in some circles. So I was like, well, I'm probably not going to use it that much, just because I'm too scared I'm going to damage it. In this one, you put the BBs in the back, and then obviously you push them through, and they go through. The gas is kept in the handle, similar to the Umarex, except for this is green gas / Abbey gas. So pop it in the bottom there, push it in, and then you fire away. Obviously it's plastic, so it's really light. It feels a bit weird compared to my metal one, my Umarex metal one, and the Tanaka heavyweight one. But I probably will use that in the field at some point anyway, just because it's a gun. I bought it. I want to play with it. I'm not one of those guys who just like goes and I've got a mint condition comic and I'll just leave it in the wrapper. I want to actually read it, and in this case, I really want to use it. So I probably will use it at some point. I'll probably take it out next fun day and shoot it around there. I might do some CQB with it. Who knows? But for the time being, it's sitting safe in my room until I get the balls to use it. This one is another vein of my addiction to having backups for my backups. I bought this. This is a Raven, which is Nuprol M1911 MEU. I bought it for 50 quid off Control Base, I'm pretty sure it was. This one's the one with the rail on the front. I got this because, as I said earlier, the 1911 I had before, the CO2 one, was having issues. So the trigger wasn't working sometimes. So I wanted one that I could. I wanted another 1911 CO2 that I could have as like a winter gun and having it a bit more reliable. This one came back really good on reviews, so I thought I'd pick it up and try it. And so far, I've been impressed. The range on it's pretty good. The accuracy on it's pretty good as well. Magazines are about 30 quid a piece, which, funnily enough, if you buy two mags are worth more than the gun. When you buy the pistol itself, it comes in green gas, but there's a CO2 conversion kit it comes with, so you can change it to CO2. So it's not actually a CO2 pistol when you first get it, but you can make it a CO2 pistol. But no, for 50 quid, it's awesome. It's really, really good. It's obviously not. It's metal, but it's quite light metal. It takes a couple of nicks. I think you probably could upgrade it quite a lot. The good thing is, since it has this front rail, the reason I got the railed version is because someone bought me a laser for my birthday about when I was starting playing, and I never had anything to put the laser on. So now I've got a railed pistol that I can put the laser on and maybe use at some point. I haven't found a reason to use the laser yet, but I'm sure I will at some point. So yeah, all in all, 50 quid, really good value for money. Nice little pistol. If I was going to start again, I'd probably get this as my first pistol just because it is a really nice pistol. Can't really say much more than that. Okay, so again, in the vein of needing backups for my backups, since the Derringer broke, I bought myself this little Tokyo Marui Glock 26, and it's awesome. It's an awesome little gun. I bought it since the Derringer broke. I wanted a new backup gun to tuck away somewhere in case I really need it, and this does just the trick. With a small mag, it only holds about 15 BBs. You can just sort of put it in there, tuck it away in your jacket or something like that, and then if you need to, you can pull it out, blast away. It's got really good range, really good accuracy because it's Tokyo Marui. It's plastic, so it doesn't really weigh much at all. And all in all, it is just a really, really awesome backup gun because it's so little. You just tuck it away in your jacket. On a cold day, if you tuck it on the inside of your jacket, it'll stay nice and warm. Put it out, blast someone if you need to. If, say, your pistol's malfunctioning or your primary's malfunctioning or something like that, you can always just whack it out, get some dudes. I've got quite a few people with this so far. It is really awesome. I used it just on its own at one point, and it still performed really well. So if you're looking for an emergency backup gun, I highly suggest this. This was 120 off one of the shops. I can't remember what shop I bought it from. But no, if you want a backup gun, or just even a primary gun, to be fair, if you get a couple more mags for this, I think you can't probably make it work. It's an awesome little gun. My most recent purchase, I only did a couple of 4 weeks ago, something like that. And the reason I put this in my pistol group is because of the fact that it is technically an electric pistol. This is a Tokyo Marui. I do like my Tokyo Maruis, don't I? Tokyo Marui Mach 10. It does come with a big old suppressor, but I'm not using the suppressor for the time being, just because I'm quickly showing you. This is an awesome little piece of kit. I bought it because I didn't, in my entire airsoft collection, I do not have an electric pistol. I decided I wanted one, but I also wanted, because I also wanted something that would do the job really well. Because looking online, there's a lot of people who worship the Tokyo Marui Mark 23. There's no harm in that. It's a good gun. It's decent range, really quiet, everything like that. This is everything the Tokyo Marui Mark 23 is, but full auto as well, which is just awesome. It is really quiet. It is really awesome range. And you can get a 380 high cap for it. Sorry, not 380, 480 high cap for it, which is amazing. So, because I took this out in the field as a backup to my sniper last week, and I ended up using this quite a lot. And one of my friends, his primary broke, so he stole this and used it as a primary, and he got on fine. You could use this as a primary all the live long day, or you can keep it as a secondary for your sniper. Because there was one point where I was against this, because it's so quiet, I was against this wall, and I was literally no more than the distance between me and the camera from people, and they still couldn't hear me. With this suppressor on, this thing is absolutely unidentifiably quiet. It's not silent, but it's very quiet. And with the suppressor on, this is weird because without the suppressor, it's still very quiet. With the suppressor, it's quiet. It's not really quieter, but it definitely changes the sound, so it doesn't sound like an airsoft gun. It sounds like something else, which makes it a bit, adds to the sort of confusion people are having. It's got a stock. If you want to pull the stock out, you can do that. It's got a little one there, and then you press a button, and it comes all the way out, and you have that if you really want to. With the suppressor on, it gives you a nice little handhold. It does come with a fabric grip you can have on there, so you can have a fabric grip if you really want to, but I don't really care too much. I've recently found a holster for this, so I can now use it in a holster. It was an 8-field tactical SMG leg holster adjustable, which I've now found that this fits really nicely in, and it actually works quite well. So generally, if you're going to get an electric pistol, or you want a sniper backup, or you just want a really quiet primary, I would highly suggest this gun. It is absolutely awesome. Tokyo Marui is incredible. This is an awesome piece of kit. And that brings us to the end of our pistol section. We will now move on to... So, the first SMG I ever bought was this, which is a Tokyo Marui P90. Not the high cycle, the normal one. This is one with the integrated red dot sight as well. I got this because I originally wanted this as my first airsoft primary, but it was sadly all sold out at the time. But when I saw it became available, I immediately bought it, no hesitation whatsoever in my mind. I'm a huge Stargate fan. I love the P90 design. It is awesome. It's probably one of the best guns ever made, and I absolutely love it. So as soon as it came available, I bought it, and it is a really good gun. It is, as an airsoft gun, it is a really good airsoft gun. It's a CQB. It's an absolute beast. In outdoor open areas, I think the only thing that gives it problems with range, I think, is the FPS. It is obviously 290, and trying to throw .25s at longer distances, I think it does struggle a little bit. So I'm hoping at one point to up the FPS to 350 and be able to use this outside a lot more. But I do really like this gun, but I would suggest if you're going to go for a gun for outdoors as well, I probably wouldn't go for this straight away. It cost me 250, but I still love it, and hopefully I'll be able to take it out a lot more. But in CQB, it's amazing. The the mid caps for it hold about 60, which is about realism sort of style, and then you can also get high capacity ones like 300 or so for it. But I found those to be a bit dodgy, so I just stick to the mid caps and just go realism mode. But no, it's an awesome little piece of kit. The next SMG I bought was this, which is a Tokyo Marui MP7 gas blowback. I wanted a gas blowback for a long time, and I was just looking at doing airsofting abroad, just considering doing airsofting abroad. And my whole idea of having two gas blowbacks, two gas-powered guns, so a gas-powered primer and a gas-powered pistol. So when I go to the country, I can just buy the gas and play. I ended up going for this because it was one of the most highly recommended gas blowbacks I could find, and it's good. It is really good. If you're in warm weather or hot weather, this thing's an absolute beast. It's incredible. As soon as you start getting a bit cold, starts having issues. At least for me, anyway. Again, this is all my personal opinion. But no, this is really. Also, the range on it's not. I don't know whether I've just got it because I've thrown .25s out of it. I don't know whether I've just got the hop up not sorted right or something like that. But I find I can get all right range in CQB, but any like longer ranges starts to struggle a little bit. But the kick on it's really good. The action on it's awesome. I've lent it out to a couple of friends at times, and they absolutely love it. They absolutely adore it. I know I've got one of my other friends really wants to have a go of it, just because they want their thing about getting one too. So it is a really awesome piece of kit. I haven't been able to go abroad with it just yet and use it out in another country yet, but hopefully someday I will. But no, I definitely recommend if you want a gas blowback, this is a pretty good one to choose. With a 40 capacity and plenty of gas to last you, you probably get about 2-3 mags out before you have to fill the gas up if you fill it properly all the way to the top. So yeah, if you want a gas blowback, this is a nice little one. I think it cost me $3.50, and each mag is about 40 quid, so it's quite expensive. But gas blowbacks usually are. But no, it's a nice little gun. So here we have a gun that I bought because I really wanted to make a stealth gun. This is a Cyma limited edition blue MP5 SD. What blue means, I have no idea. But it's full metal, so you can do the HK slap all the live long day with it, and you don't have to worry about breaking it off. I wouldn't suggest doing it all the live long day just in case, but you could. I love the MP5 SD since I was very young. I remember growing up and having one of my friends had a full stock MP5 SD, like electric, like laser gun sort of thing. So like when you pull the trigger, but it obviously had the same form as the MP5 SD, and I absolutely loved playing with that, and it was awesome. And therefore I really wanted to get one of these. I wanted to make a gun that was like basically a Tokyo Marui MK23 but a primary, so like a really cool stealth gun. And I knew I had to do it in the MP5 SD body, or else it would have no meaning to me. I'm still working on it. I've taken this one out in the field a couple of times, or a few times, and it's done really well, but it's now starting to have some issues. So the fire selector here is starting to fall off, basically. So that needs some work done. But all in all, this is a good gun, and I hope to eventually turn it into a proper silent killing machine. I would suggest if you're looking for a starting gun, this is probably not a bad one. I spent 160 on it, I think, only because it was a limited edition. I think was the reason why it was so expensive. But yeah, it's got decent range from, all right AEG range. Action works okay. It's not particularly silent. It's actually pretty loud. But hopefully I'll get that sorted out. Easy to get mid caps for, just standard Cyma mid caps would fit in there nicely. All in all, pretty good little gun. If now I'm gonna start taking it apart and tearing it to pieces, but only because I love it so much. My most recent SMG purchase, and probably one of my most sad, is the Ares electric blowback Thompson M1A1. This is electric blowback, and I've used it out in the garden. I used it out in the garden, worked fine in the garden, was lots of fun. This moves back and forth, no actual real recoil, it's more fanatic, so it just looks cool when it's going back and forth. Real wood front, real wood back, cost me 500 or so pounds. so it's fairly expensive. And immediately, as soon as I took it to the site, it stopped cycling, and I've since tried to fix it, and it took a little knock, literally not even a heavy knock, it took a little knock, and the die cast part holding the front end and the back end has broken off. So anyone who knows me knows that I'm cursed when it comes to Thompsons. Bear in mind that my last Thompson purchase was the gas blowback, and it went terribly. I'm suspecting to believe them, that I am cursed when it comes to Thompsons. As much as I love them, they are never meant to be, maybe. At the moment, I'm going to try and fix this, and then I'm going to take it into a repair shop and hopefully get someone else to sort it out. Because, as I said, I'm cursed, so the least contact I have, the better. I'm going to send Aries an email about this, but yeah, I would love it. I love the idea of a Thompson, and I love the idea of an electric blowback, but at the moment it's not working out. So we'll have to. It's a very expensive mistake. Don't spend 500 guns, kids. So 500 guns, 500 quid on a gun. Do not spend £500 on a gun. Don't do it. Moving on swiftly from that depressing part, I'm going to include this in it only because of the fact that it is not really a rifle anymore. I've already cut it up. This was a cheap Cyma M4 that I got online for about 80 quid, 75 quid, something like that. It's all plastic. The idea behind it is that I'm going to turn it into Judge Dredd's Lawgiver, not the one from the film, the one from the comics. But I'm still waiting for the 3D modeling to finish. I'm going to get that done at some point. And once I've got that done, I'll be able to add the 3D modeling parts and all the bells and whistles and finish it up and hopefully have a cool little M4 pistol basically to run around with. So this is a project in the works. But before I cut it up, I shot the gun in the garden for a little bit, and it was a cheap M4. What more can you really expect? I mean, it was all right, but yeah, that's okay. Moving on to rifles. My first ever rifle purchase was a Nuprol Defender Enforcer Alpha, as you can read on the side there, and it was a long barrel SOPMOD M4. As you can see, it does not have a stock at the moment because it is being transformed into a DMR. I found that after I've made all my purchases in Airsoft, a standard M4 AEG was not particularly appealing to me, so I decided to turn this into a DMR. It is in the middle of the process of being turned into a DMR. It's almost there, getting there. But no, for a first purchase M4, it was pretty good. I spent about $250 on it, and it got really good range. The FPS was actually quite low, so it took a while for the BBs to get there, but they did actually always get there. The hop-up on it was really good. Worked really nicely, actually. I'd highly recommend it for the first AEG. For $250 though, I would probably go for an ARP or something. But no, it's not a bad gun. I quite enjoyed it. Hopefully turning into a DMR soon. My next purchase was the ARP 556. I cannot find it for the time being. I think I've lent it to someone. But it was the ARP 556 is a great little gun. I've already probably spoken about it before, and there's hundreds of reviews out there for the ARP. But the ARP is probably the best starting gun ever, I would say, as a general rule. It is an awesome little piece of kit, and if you haven't seen it, go see it. But as I said, there's tons of reviews out there. You've probably seen one already. Moving on then. Next one I've got is, I think I bought this one after. This is a G&G AK-74. RK-74? I think it's RK-74, just for branding. And I bought this as a cheap Milsim terrorist gun, just to run around and shoot people and pretend to be a terrorist and stuff. And I bought it for 100 quid. Didn't cost me much. It's got really good range, awesome range, but it does have a lot of feeding issues. And the stock, the battery plug and the battery itself, when you put a battery in there, rattle around and stock a little bit. But for 100 quid, for a cheap budget AK, this isn't bad. But I think I'd probably go Cyma if I was going to buy one again in the future. I'm hoping to sell this actually for someone at some point, just so I can get myself a proper wood one, just because the plastic annoys me a little bit. Also, funnily enough, I don't know if you can see this like scale wise, but it feels like the stock is really tiny on this. I don't know why. It just feels like the stock is like almost non-existent. Especially when you go to shoulder it, you feel it. You feel like the stock should be like out here instead it's like there. Maybe I'm just a big boy, who knows. But no, for 100 quid AK, budget AK, not terrible. Might use it a couple more times, but I'm hoping to sell it and get a new one upgrade soon. The next purchase I did was this, which is a WE Scar gas blowback. I wanted a gas blowback rifle after I bought the MP7. I loved it. I wanted a gas blowback rifle. I tried to decide which one to go for. I wanted something that wasn't just going to be an M4, because I want something a bit more different, a bit more unique. And I saw a lot of good reviews for this online, and I decided to get it. And it is a really good gun. Like most of my guns, the only problem it has is range. It has not very good range. I'm hoping to put a new hop-up in it at some point, and hopefully that will sort the problem out. But I find it can't really go very far. But in terms of CQB, it's awesome, loads of fun, really good kick on it. You feel it in your shoulder. Sounds amazing. Everyone comments on how good it sounds. It is an awesome piece of kit. Cost me $350, I think. Maybe actually no, it was less than that. It was 300, I think, maybe 320. And then each mag I bought for it was 30 quid or something like that. So yeah, I mean it wasn't the most expensive gas blowback in the world, but it wasn't cheap. But it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and hopefully once I get the hop-up sorted out, I'll be able to take it out a lot more. But no, really cool piece of kit. I then had a chap at work tell me that he used to play Airsoft, and he had an old M4 that he got when he first started. He bought an M4 with his friends, and he wanted to sell it. And I said, I'll take it off your hands for 20 quid. So I bought this cheap M4 for 20 quid, and I'm probably going to tear it apart at some point and turn it into one of my crazy projects, but I haven't decided exactly what yet. I'm thinking probably unicorn gun. Thinking about a unicorn gun, but I'll sort that out at some point in the future. But so far, it's a little spare M4 I've got kicking around, 20 quid. 20 quid, can't turn that down. My latest assault rifle purchase is this one, which was considerably more expensive. This is a Tokyo Marui M4 SOPMOD. Sorry, Tokyo Marui Recoil M4 SOPMOD. So this is a electric blowback M4 rifle. I wanted a electric blowback rifle, like a proper kick one, for when I was going out in the winter, and I just looked at a lot of other electric blowbacks, but this comes back as probably one of the most highly reviewed and revered electric blowbacks of all time. So I decided to take the plunge and buy it, and it is actually really good. It is a really good rifle, an airsoft rifle. It's got all the cool trademarks, looks amazing, feels amazing. The electric blowback's actually pretty good. It's not as good as gas blowbacks, but it's still pretty good, much better than a lot of other electric blowbacks you get out there. I love the fact you have to obviously cock it. You've got the mag release as well, and the bolt release every time you put a fresh mag in when you've got run out of the last one. I've used it quite a few times. I'm going to use it quite a few more times. All in all, a really cool gun, really enjoyable. I found that obviously at 290, it struggles a little bit sometimes outside, but no, it's a really good gun. I'm looking forward to using it a lot more. I only got it a few months ago, so I'm still learning and adapting to it. But no, it's a really, really nice little bit of gun. But it was very expensive. I think it was like five. I got it for 400 and something pounds, 430 or something. And each of the mags for it were about 30 quid a piece as well. So pretty expensive. Moving on to my machine guns. Here is my first machine gun I ever purchased. I got this in a sale on, I think it was Just BB Guns or something like that. One of the sites you're never supposed to go to, but I did it anyway because I'm a rebel. Honestly, don't buy it. Don't buy on cheap BB gun sites because they're usually not that good. But I got this on a sale. It was 200 quid. 200 quid for a classic. It's classic army. It's classic army M249 with full stock. 200 quid, bargain. I got it and I immediately decided to take it out with me on a milsim. So lugging this around for hours and hours and hours on end, that was a lot of heavy workout. But it was a lot of fun. The only problem with it is that it does have really bad range, like really bad range, to the point where I had literally run at people with this to get them. But it was a lot of fun. I'm looking at selling it now to my friend who's going to get it all done up and upgrade it and make it all nice, and he's going to use it for his own purposes because he really likes machine guns. The stock almost immediately started falling apart for me, but I taped it together. I think it just needs some glue. I think it just probably wasn't properly glued together. But in all fairness, for 20 quid, I expect 200 quid, I thought there'd be a few issues with it. But no, it's a really fun little machine gun. I love M249s with the full stocks. They're loads of fun. So yeah, I would suggest that if for a sale, it's pretty good. But I think it still needs a lot of work. But I'm luckily enough not having to do that work because I don't want to. Since I am selling my only machine gun, I decided to buy another machine gun to replace it. This is an ANK MK43, basically an M60 E4, E4. Basically the modern tactical version of the M60. This is a load of fun. I really like it. It is really good. It does have the problem that a lot of ANK machine guns have, where the FPS can be a bit of a tricky mistress sometimes. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it doesn't want to. My friend Jack had to go for a big old processor with his PKM to get it to work. Luckily with this one I've managed to get it sorted out myself. Not too bad. So it sort of works quite a lot of the time for me anyway. It is really heavy. It is really heavy. It's about as heavy as a lot of the machine guns you get, like full-size machine guns you get. Luckily, because this one's a tactical version, it's shorter, it's got this foregrip here, which makes it a lot easier to turn corners, a lot easier to peek with it, a lot easier to move around, which is one of the reasons why I got it. Obviously it comes with this little bipod, but most of the time you'll keep the bipod up just to keep the mobility up. It's got an interesting system, which was a pain in the ass when I first got it, but I'm now starting to get used to it. Which is that it's got one battery for both the mag and the gun itself. So this thing eats through batteries like no one's business. I usually go through at least 4 batteries a day with this. It's absolutely insane. So make sure you carry a lot of batteries when you use this thing. It's also got a thing where it's got an internal. Basically, this mag stays on the whole time, and you just disconnect the battery instead of disconnecting the magazine, which is interesting. But it did have some issues with the feeding when I first got it, but now it's all sorted out now. It's all happy days, really. Took it out a few times. It's got really good range and a decent fire rate as long as the battery's still working. Yeah, all in all, it's a really good machine gun. I would highly recommend it. I've seen a couple of guys with them. I haven't seen that many around, but I've seen a couple around. So it is one of the more unusual machine guns, but it's still a really good one. And I'm hoping to run around with this a lot more in the future. But yeah, so pretty much that's all I can have to say about this. It's a good machine gun. It cost me 530 something pounds. It was one again. It's another one of my more expensive machine gun airsoft purchases, but I think the only reason was because it was running out of stock. It was quite unusual. It's more of a more unusual machine guns you get, but it still was. I think it was worth it in a lot of ways because it still is really good. And it's really devastating. Okay, now we're gonna quickly go through some of my more unusual ones just to my right. This is my what brand was this? S Thunder. This is S Thunder double barrel grenade launcher pistol. It's exactly like it sounds like. It's a double barrel grenade launcher pistol. You pop 2 scatter shells in there, boom, blow someone away. With both barrels, you can shoot one barrel, then the other barrel, or you can shoot both barrels at once. If you're not shooting both barrels at once, then why the hell did you buy a double barrel grenade launcher pistol? It is a lot of fun. I've got a holster which puts it on my back, so I can pull it out and blast people. The trigger pull on it's really hard though, so you gotta make sure you like half pull it before the person comes around the corner, or else you're gonna end up missing them. But no, besides that, it's a really fun little pistol. I haven't really got any launchers before and any launchers since, but I wanted like a really big shotgun pistol, and that's basically what this is. But for the 50 quid I spent for it, I think it does the job really well. I really enjoy it. Quickly, my one and only sniper is a Cyma M24 with a fluted barrel, and I got it for 100 quid. I think I got this just after I got my first M4 because I wanted to try sniping, and it gets the BBs out there, but it's really inconsistent. I tried to use it a couple of weeks ago, and I just couldn't hit anything. I think I got like 12 people throughout the whole day or something, just because I just couldn't. It was so inconsistent. The BBs were flying all over the shop, so I ended up using the Mac 10 to kill most of the people. So it's going to require a lot of upgrades, but apparently there are lots of upgrades available for it. So I will definitely have to upgrade it. But as a cheap sniper, it's pretty good. As a sniper, but it is a sniper you need to upgrade. You're going to need to put some work into it if you want it to be any way good. It's decent, but it needs upgrades to be good. So still one of the ones I need to put a lot of work into. Now, on to my shotguns. This was the first airsoft gun I ever purchased. Before, when I was getting into airsoft, I wanted a gun of my own to take in with me, and I thought it would be a good idea to get a shotgun. So I got this cheap Cyma spring sawn off shotgun online. Because I had my car at this point, they spray painted it green for me. I've since done a custom paint job myself, a half-assed custom paint job myself, just basically putting a load of stuff on it and stuff, just for shits and giggles, really. It's a spring shotgun. What can you say? It's all right. It's not got incredible range. It's definitely for CQB, but it is a lot of fun. It's a tri-shot, so you shoot it and it shoots 3 at a time. Put the shells on the bottom here. Holds all the shells I've got hold 30, so you get 10 shots. Pump it every time. The pump is a lot of work, but after the first couple of times, you'll get used to it. In CQB, this is a lot of fun. It does really make people jump, and generally, it's a spring shotgun. A lot of fun, but you wouldn't want to take it anywhere except from CQB. My next shotgun purchase is a big jump up. This is the Tokyo Marui AA12. This is an absolute beast. This cost me. It didn't cost me actually. It only cost me 80 quid, I believe. Actually, and I'll tell you the story behind that in a second. But this is a tri-shot, fully automatic electric shotgun with a drum mag that shoots that holds 3,000 BBs. and with TM range. So just let that sink in for a second while I rub my nose. This thing is an absolute unit. I mean, you could give this to Stevie Wonder and he'll still slaughter the entire team. This thing can output BBs faster than you can fill it in. It is absolutely incredible. Each of the inner barrels has its own hop-up unit, so you can choose what spread you want. So you can even customize the spread. It has incredible range. Fire rate is not bad, but I mean, it's a fucking shotgun. You don't need a ridiculous fire rate for it. What happened is when I got my Thompson blowback, I bought it from surplus store. When the gas blowback inevitably kept dying, and I went to send it back, I suggested that they give me this instead. So they gave me this instead of me just taking my money back, and I then proceeded to take this out on my first game day and absolutely slaughter everyone with it. I must have got at least 100 kills in the first game. It was absolutely insane. This thing is ridiculous. Literally, it absolutely decimates every team it comes across. As long as you know relatively what you're doing. I mean, even if you don't know what you're doing, you can still do all right. But no, this is a really, really, really good gun. But that's the reason why I don't take it out that much, funnily enough. I don't take it out that much because it decimates everyone so much. It just becomes a bit boring after a while, funnily enough. After the first few times you slaughter everyone, it becomes less fun. You just sort of get bored with it. So I do take it out every now and then. I haven't taken it out, funnily enough, for a while. But I need to. But I think it's one of those guns that I take out every now and then. What I used to do is I used to keep it in the car when I went airsofting, and then if the teams were really unbalanced or our team was losing really heavily throughout most of the day, I would pull this out and immediately turn the tide, just because it's an absolutely insane piece of kit. But all in all, if you were going to buy it yourself, it will cost you around £500 upwards. So it's a very expensive gun, and for good reason, because it is an absolutely insane one. So I wouldn't recommend it unless you really want something to absolutely decimate everyone with. And because I see a lot of people sell these on almost immediately after they get it, use it for a couple of months and sell it on. So I'd say unless you're really, really, really a big fan of the AA12, I would suggest you probably just leave it out. But I really enjoy it, and I'm definitely taking it out a lot more. And my final airsoft shotgun purchase was this, which was a Nuprol shotgun. I got it because of one thing and one thing only, a master key shotgun. As you can see, I've already cut it up a lot. The idea was that when my DMR is finished, I'm going to have this attached underneath like so, and use it like a master key shotgun and blast anyone who, because obviously with DMRs you have a minimum engagement range, so you can't shoot anyone who gets within a certain distance of you. That's where this bad boy comes in. It shoots about 320, so the idea was that I would then use this to just blast away anyone who got within my minimum engagement range. And yeah, it's a really hard pump, but it's a very short pump, because I got it because the pump bit goes, just making sure there's nothing in there, the pump bit goes like towards the thing, so it goes towards the thing, so it goes over here, so it even has less space, less room. See if it still works. Is it saved you? There you go. I haven't used it yet, so it'll be interesting to see when it goes on the gun. When I used it in the garden, it turned out okay, but obviously I wouldn't use it in any further than the minimum engagement distance. I really like the idea of master keys, so that's why I decided to go for that one. So I think I got it for about 50 quid, so it wasn't very expensive. So I just bought a cheap shotgun, just cut into pieces. So I wouldn't really dwell on that too much. All in all, that's pretty much everything I currently have. Obviously, there's guns that I've had that I've got rid of, and then there's guns that I would like to get in the future. But for the time being, I'm going to give it a break, stop buying guns, because I've spent an extortionate amount of money on guns, and it's not healthy. I need to stop. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any questions you want to ask about any of the guns that I've shown you, I've kind of sped through them all. This video is probably long enough as it is. If there's any questions you want to ask about any of them, feel free to send me a message or post a comment, and I'll be able to answer all the questions. I've got some Airsoft videos coming up hopefully soon, so I'll get them all done. And yeah, all in all, I'll catch you kids. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you catch you kids later.